Kentucky's heading down to the swamp to face Florida. Of course, they're coming off a 10-win season. Florida coming off a huge win against number 7 Utah. Two high-powered offenses going at it. But we're going to get right into it. Drew, what do you think the biggest keys are for both of these teams heading into this week?
Well, one thing I want to touch on that I think a lot of people doing these preview predictions for this game aren't going to touch on is the weather. As I looked at the weather forecast for Gainesville on Saturday, it looks like it's supposed to be heavy rainfall. Now, we don't know what's actually going to happen. We don't know what the weather is going to be like till it gets here. But with it having a chance of raining and raining heavily, you got to think Kentucky's a team that's kind of transitioned more into a heavy passing team as compared to the old days where they were more a ground and pound, running up the middle, get 4 or 5 yards for the whole game and wear the defense out. But now with Will Levis and some really good wide receivers, they started opening up the playbook. They started throwing deep. And you would just have to think the weather is going to play a factor in that as compared to a team like Florida who last week played Utah and ran the ball very efficiently. I just think that right there is an advantage for Florida in itself. Again, I don't know if it's going to rain. I'm not God. I can't predict weather. But, in the scenario that it does rain heavily, I think Florida has a true advantage there. Another thing I want to touch on is Kentucky's running back situation. Now, a lot of people know Kentucky does have a lot of depth at running back, and they're very talented, but they've been suffering some key losses and some injuries, and I'll talk a little bit about that here now. So obviously, Chris Rodriguez, he's out with a DUI, and he's had other off-the-field issues, and Mark Stoops has, kept him off the depth chart for now. And then you have Ramon Jefferson. He was another running back in the rotation. He's out for several weeks. The injury wasn't disclosed on exactly what happened. I know it happened last week when they played Miami of Ohio. And then Jaton McClain, I'm sorry if I'm butchering these guys' names. Apparently he's week to week. I'm not sure if he's going to be back for this Florida game or not. So we'll see what Mark Stoops decided to go in that route. So with all that being said, it looks like Kavosi Smoke's going to be getting a lot of the touches this week, and Lavelle Wright's probably going to come in, and you'll see a little bit of him as well. So, Aiden, you watched the Utah-Florida game and watched Florida last week. What things do you think Florida's going to have to do and continue to do if they want to come in and beat this Kentucky team?
Yeah, last week Florida did a great job of dominating in the run game and really running the ball down Utah's throat. Anthony Richardson played great, high completion percentage, 274 total yards, 3 touchdowns. Florida did a great job of running the football, both with the running backs and with Anthony Richardson. He had 3 touchdowns on the ground, 168 yards through the air. He's going to have another effort like that. Talking about their defense, they did a great job of getting pressure on Cam Rising. Cam Rising is just a great quarterback. He was able to escape it and make some great plays. But I was really impressed with the effort that the Florida defense gave. Last year everyone wrote them off because they kind of quit during the middle of the season. But you didn't see any of that this year. A bunch of effort. Everyone was flying to the football. So as long as Florida keeps that up, they're going to be able to make up for their mistakes. But that being said, though, Florida did give up a lot of yards on the ground, and they did give up a lot of third down conversions. They're going to have to be able to get off the field on third down and give Anthony Richardson and their offense, the ball and a chance to put up points.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the Florida defensive line getting a lot of pressure because one thing I wanted to know when I'm talking about Kentucky as well is they gave up 4 sacks last week against the Miami, Ohio team. That's nowhere near as talented as Florida. Florida has a lot more speed, a lot more size, and if Kentucky's giving up pressure to teams like Miami of Ohio, that's going to be an issue going forward when you play a Florida defense as talented as that. So we all know Will Levis. He's a really good quarterback for Kentucky. He's probably going to be a first-round draft pick, and obviously he's going to be the main factor for this Kentucky offense, whether or not they put up points or not. As I mentioned earlier, the rain could be an issue here if it does rain heavily. So, and like you were saying, Florida's run defense was kind of skeptical at times, and I think Kentucky's going to have to take advantage of that. I really do. I know Kentucky's been dealing with a lot of injuries at the running back position, but they still have a lot of talent back there. And if Kentucky can get the running game going, it's going to open up the passing game for Kentucky as well. Because, Will Levis, as good as he is with throwing the football, he really excels when it comes to the intermediate passing game and the short passes and all that. And when, if it's raining, that's what you want your quarterback to be throwing. You don't want him throwing, 50, 60-yard deep balls across the field when it's raining like that. So if Kentucky can really open up that intermediate passing game with the run, I think Kentucky's going to benefit from that a lot. As far as Kentucky's defense goes, I think the number one priority is you have to contain Anthony Richardson. You can't let him run all the way around you like Utah did. And Utah had a pretty solid run defense, but they just struggled with containing Anthony Richardson. And I think that really helped open up the pass game for Florida as well. And, if you do those things and you keep Anthony Richardson, contained and you force him to beat you through the air, I think that gives you a better chance to win. I'm still not convinced that Anthony Richardson's an elite passer by any means. I still think he has the potential to be a really good passer. But I just don't know if it's going to be, in this game or later down the season. I just don't. I think the best way to stop Florida's offense is force them to throw. So Kentucky's going to have to find a way to keep him, in the pocket, get some pressure on him. I know he's capable of escaping pressure. So I mean, you're going to have to be careful with the way you blitz and all that stuff. But as far as getting into what I think is going to happen, I don't know. I'm just taking everything into account: the weather, the injuries, what Florida is able to do on offense. Kentucky struggles on the offensive line. I just think the advantage here goes to Florida, and they play at home on top of that. Florida's a tough place to play, one of the loudest places to play in the SEC, if not college football. It's definitely up there. So Kentucky's going to be stepping into a pretty tough environment here. Now, I think Kentucky does have the talent to maybe pull something off, and we've seen Kentucky teams beat Florida teams that they weren't better than. And, that's definitely a possibility for this year. Now, Florida's 4.5-point favorites. I can't see a scenario where I pick Kentucky in this situation. Would I be surprised if Kentucky won? Not really. I think Kentucky, they're a top 25 team for a reason. They're still a good team. Mark Stoops has done a terrific job in what he's done at Lexington and making Kentucky a very competitive football team. But in this case right here, just taking everything into account, give me Florida in the 4.5 points.
I definitely agree with a lot of things you just said, Drew. Going and playing at the Swamp is a tough task, very difficult atmosphere to, go and succeed in. I think that this Wildcats team, they're prone for success. I think that they're equipped at basically everywhere to go and beat this 40 Gators team. When I'm trying to think of who's going to win, it's really up in the air for me. I think that this Wildcats offense, it's really high-powered, one of the best offenses in the SEC East. Like you said, Will Levis is probably going to be a first-round pick. But on the other side, I saw that Florida's run game and what they did to Utah, ranked number 7, and it's gonna be a close game. I think 4.5 points, 4.5 is almost a little bit too much for me to feel comfortable taking Florida. If it was something like 3, I'd feel a little bit more comfortable. I just think that this Kentucky offense is really good, and Florida's defense showed a lot of gaps in areas that an offense could succeed against. Even given all the things that I said about them earlier, giving them all the praise. Like I said, this is a very good Kentucky offense, but taking all that into consideration, playing at Florida, I'm going to take Florida, and I'm going to take Florida in a close game.
Well, there it is, guys. That's our preview and prediction for Florida versus Kentucky. And Kentucky fans, don't get upset because we didn't pick Kentucky to win. You very well could win this game. Don't be surprised, and other people watching this, don't be surprised if Kentucky does win this game. They have a lot of talent to match up with Florida. Kentucky has improved a lot over the past few years under Mark Stoops, and they do have a high-powered offense and could be better than Utah. Obviously, we have no clue who's better between Utah and Kentucky, and we still don't really have enough of a sample size to really gauge two teams right now because they've only played 1 week. We can only do so much with the information we have after 1 week of games when we come to making these picks. So if we pick, like for example, Kentucky, if we didn't pick you this week, don't dislike the video and get all mad about it. You very well could win this game, and I can't stress that enough. But that's going to wrap it up for this one, guys. Let us know down below in the comments what you think about this game and who you think is going to win and key factors. Whatever you want to talk about, leave it down below in the comments, and we'll definitely take a look at it, and we'll reply to most of them. But we'll probably do another preview prediction sometime this week. I'm not 100% sure. We're just going to kind of go with the flow here. That's it for this video, guys. We'll see you in the next one.